Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is my Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. I do every Monday at noon. My name is Dennis Brown, and today I'm going to share with you 4 ways to differentiate yourself from your competition as a freight broker. So, 4 ways to differentiate yourself. Now, I'm going to talk about why it's important that you differentiate yourself, and then secondly, I'm going to give you 4 strategies, 4 tactics, 4 tips to help you differentiate yourself so that you can stand out from the crowd. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over today. But before we do that, I agreed anybody that joins me early, we're going to do a quick giveaway. All right. We're probably going to give away a Freightpreneur t-shirt, maybe something else, depending on how much time we have. So we're going to let a bunch of people get live here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you can, hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'm in Buffalo, New York area, Clarence to be exact, a little suburb outside of Buffalo. But where are you joining me from? Hit me up in the comments. Maybe I'll be able to give you a shout out before we start the training. And again, thank you so much for joining me. I do these every week, every Monday at noon. I do what I call my Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Okay. You can view it on YouTube. You can view it on Facebook. You can view it on, let's see what else, maybe Instagram and Twitter and a bunch of other platforms. Okay. So I do these lives every week, Monday at noon. If this is the first time for you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear some of my first time listeners, first time joiners. So again, these live trainings are every Monday at noon. And today, just while we're waiting, just to rehash here, I'm going to cover 2 very important points. Number one, why it's important to differentiate yourself from the competition. And secondly, I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to differentiate yourself from the competition as a freight broker or a freight agent. Okay. But before we do that, again, I'm going to be doing these live. I'm going to be doing a couple live giveaways. So let's wait for some people to get live, and then I'm going to do the first giveaway. Some of you have probably already won prizes in the past. Maybe you're a proud owner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt, or maybe you won some cash or a book or something else that I usually give away. So we got a bunch of people. We got a bunch of first timers. I love it. A bunch of first timers that are joining the stream. Awesome. Martin, congrats. Jerome, congrats. Jenny, congrats. I love it. I love to hear about the first timers. I'd love to hear your feedback at the end. Let me know how valuable this was for you. And again, I'm here to serve. So today we're going to talk about 4 ways to differentiate yourself and the importance of that. So let's jump into the giveaway, because here's the agenda. We're going to do the giveaway. Then after that, at noon, right at about noon, we're going to go live with the actual training. Okay. That'll last, I don't know, I'm not sure how long that'll last, anywhere 15 to 30 minutes probably for this training. And then we're going to do live Q&A at the end. All right. So that should give you a sense as to what's going on. If you stick around to the end, you can ask any questions you want, and I will do my absolute best to try to get them answered. And that's the agenda. So there we are. So why don't we dive into the first giveaway? Okay. So here's what we need to do. If you want a chance to win a Freightpreneur t-shirt, okay, if you want a chance, number one, for this contest, you have to be in the United States. Okay. I don't ship these internationally. It doesn't make sense to spend $50 shipping a shirt that costs $25. So yeah, so if you're in the US and you want a chance to win this Freightpreneur t-shirt, listen in carefully. Here's all you have to do. Take out your smartphone, okay? Take out your iPhone or your Android or whatever it is. And I want you to go to your favorite podcast app. If you're on Apple, search for the Apple podcast, right? It's a purple logo. If you're on Android, then maybe you want to use Spotify or Google Podcast. And then what I want you to do is I want you to open up that podcast app and I want you to search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, okay? So if you search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, you're going to see my bald, shiny head and that logo that says Freight Broker Bootcamp. And that is my Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience podcast. It's a free service. I offer the best of the best of the best freight broker training that I've done in the last decade in audio format. And all you have to do to qualify for a chance to win this shirt, not the one I'm wearing, a clean one, obviously. But all you have to do in order to win is to simply like, all right, follow, actually just follow the podcast, right? Follow the podcast and then rate and review the podcast. So follow, rate and review, subscribe, rate and review to the podcast on Apple or Spotify or Google or wherever you listen to your podcast. And then come back into the comments and let me know that you subscribed, rated, reviewed, and then tell me the platform. Spotify or Google or Apple. So you got to let me know. Subscribed, rated, reviewed. Those are important. You got to have all 3 of those. Subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple, on Spotify, on Google, whatever podcast platform you use. I don't care which one it is. You probably should be able to find the Freight Broker Bootcamp on virtually all of the different platforms. But those ones are definitely very popular. So if you do that and then come back into the comments and hit me up, let me know, subscribe, rated, reviewed on whatever that platform is. And then that's how I'm going to pick the winner. All right. So all you got to do, pick up the smartphone right now, go to the podcast app, search for Freight Broker Bootcamp. The logo will pop up. You'll see my bald, shiny head. Hit subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Come back into the comments and let me know that you did it. And that's going to qualify you for the drawing. And we're probably only going to get one drawing now. So maybe I'll do another one later after the training because we just probably aren't going to have a whole lot of time because I want to start the training on time, but we'll play that by ear. So we got Roland has done it on Apple. That's awesome. Thank you, Roland. Congrats. You're qualified. I'm going to pick one random winner to win the shirt. Okay. So right now, if you join the contest, you got a 50% chance of winning. You'd be one of two. There's probably going to be a few more people, but usually there's 10 to 20 people that participate in these. And at that point, what do you got to lose? You got a 1 out of 10 chance to win the shirt. Okay. And no, in the comments, I don't sell these. I don't sell the shirts. I know people yell at me all the time. I just give them away. And so, yeah, so make sure you subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast to qualify. Now, the quicker we can get this done, the quicker we might be able to do a second giveaway. But I'm looking for some people. Okay, so Marla, you got to let me know. Subscribed, rated, reviewed on Spotify. Can't just say Spotify. Again, following instructions is real important. Subscribed, rated, reviewed. Apple, subscribed, rated, reviewed. If you don't put the right comment in here, I can't filter out who's saying what, and I have to be fair about this, okay? Subscribed, rated, reviewed on whatever. Okay, so we got a bunch of people that are starting to do it. Get it subscribed. Again, I think we're approaching, what do we got on here? We've got over 100 episodes. There's 100 trainings on this podcast. Free trainings. You can go to here and you can consume 1, 10, all 100, whatever you want to do. There's 100 trainings that I've put on here, ranging anywhere from 4 minutes long to probably 30 minutes long, depending upon the topic, and they're absolutely free. So you can't lose either way, okay? So subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast, and then come back in here and let me know you did it, and I'm going to pick one random winner in about 2 minutes, all right? So I'm going to grab a quick drink while we're waiting. You guys, I'm going to tell you, I've got some great, while we're doing that, I've got some great training for you today. Here's my notes. I got a lot of important stuff to go over. And this is a really important topic that I don't talk about enough. I probably need to talk about this more. You've probably heard me say the phrase that was, I think, coined by Sally Hogshead, where she says, different is better than better. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit. You've probably heard me talk about that. But today I'm going to kind of peel the onion back a little bit further. And we're going to really kind of talk a little bit more strategic and tactical, right? We're going to give you some tactical advice on how you can differentiate yourself, because that's a question I get quite often, but I probably haven't spent enough time talking about. So here we are today. That's the topic. Congrats, everybody who subscribed. Let me grab a quick drink, then we'll do the giveaway. Oh, boy. All right. So we got a bunch of people live. And again, the training is going to start at noon. So hold tight for anybody who's interested in the training. It's going to start right around noon. It should be, maybe 15 to 30 minutes, depending upon how long things go. And then we're going to do live Q&A at the end. So stick around to the end and we're going to do live Q&A. You can ask any questions you want. Any questions about my business that I built and sold, any questions about starting and becoming a freight broker, freight agent, freight broker sales, marketing, or otherwise. Anything in between, I will do my absolute best to try to answer the question. And if I don't know the answer, because I don't know everything, I will try to point you in the right direction, okay? All right, so last chance. You have 30 seconds to subscribe, rate, and review to qualify for the giveaway. And then we are going to get this ball on the road, the show on the road, I should say. And we're going to start the training in just a few minutes. So last chance to subscribe, rate, and review. And then I'm going to pick a winner. Now, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, especially you first timers. I've probably given away, well, I've definitely given away over 100 of these shirts. I probably by now have probably given away a couple hundred. I've probably given away a couple hundred of these shirts. Freightpreneur, it says someone that solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. It's kind of funny, but true, but very accurate, very true. Most shippers, most people have no idea of what goes on behind the scenes with freight brokerage and logistics and transportation. I like to tell everybody, it's like everything's held together with baling twine and bubble gum. And the glue that binds it is really the freight brokers, right? So freight brokers are a big, big part of making that happen. And so, all right. So without further ado, let's randomly pick a winner. And I have a very non-scientific way of doing it. I close my eyes. I scroll up through the comments of people that have rated, reviewed, and I randomly point my mouse to somebody. And the winner today is Roland Solis. Roland Solis is the winner. He subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple. Congratulations. Listen carefully. Here's what you got to do to get your shirt. Freightpreneur, someone that solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. I want you to go to my Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, like the page, and then message me your full name, your mailing address, and your size. And then let me know that you won the podcast t-shirt giveaway. Okay. Just let me know you won the podcast t-shirt giveaway, and you got to let me know your full name, your address, and your size. This is a large. It runs pretty true to size. So it's unisex sizing. So depending on what you want, make sure you hit me up. If you don't send me that message on Facebook, you're not going to get the shirt. Okay. It's the only way I can get your address. So make sure you send me your full name, address, and your size, and then I will make sure that this goes out. You typically are able to get these within 1 to 2 weeks, depending upon, processing. I do free shipping, obviously, for US here. So congratulations, Roland. Thank you, everybody else who played along. We're not going to have time to do another giveaway now, but maybe if we have time, I'll do another giveaway after the training before the Q&A. So we'll have maybe a little bit of a gap there. If I think we have time and things are rolling a long way, maybe I'll do another giveaway. Maybe I'll do another t-shirt giveaway. Sometimes I give away some cash once in a while. So so stick around, but we are going to be starting the training in just a minute or two. So I'm going to give some shout outs to some people who are joining us from all over the country and probably all over the world. Welcome Brandon from Miami. Welcome Roland, the big winner from San Marco, Texas. Welcome JK from Charlotte, North Carolina. Next Links from Valley Stream, New York. Bob Boldra from McPherson, Kansas. Welcome. Holistic Logistics from Kennesaw, Georgia. Michael Astow from Seattle, Washington. Welcome Ravinder Singh from New Jersey. Welcome Martin from Enfield, Connecticut. Cynthia from Bakersfield, California. Welcome Sam from Twin Falls, Idaho. Welcome Malik Stewart from Philadelphia. Michael Gall from Julesburg, Colorado. Danique $11 from West Palm Beach, Florida. Juju B. Love from Indianapolis, Indiana. Michael from Los Angeles. Marla from Atlanta, Georgia. Jean from Morton, Pennsylvania. Welcome Ann from Houston. Jose from Burr Ridge, Chicago. Awesome. Samuel Markin from Whiteland, Indiana. Lots of Indiana today. Welcome Kenneth Savell from Houston, Texas. Trucking Simple from Prescott, Arizona. Jarrell from Stockton, California. Welcome. Martin. Welcome, first-timer Martin. Welcome, Jerome Cummings from Bowie, Maryland. Jenny Carter's a first-timer. Martin, welcome. He's signing up in Freight Broker Bootcamp soon. Michael Gallo, welcome. Blessed Logistics from Maryland, Hagerstown, Maryland. Thank you so much for joining. Dylan from Kansas City, Missouri. Mitch Harrison from Avon, Colorado. Man, we got a lot of people live. I love it, guys. Thank you so much. I'm humbled that you guys are joining me here in the middle of your very busy day. I'm sure some of you are already running a successful business. Others are interested in getting started, and some of you are probably mid-progress here of launching your freight broker, freight agency. Either way, I think you're going to enjoy today's training. And if you're curious about becoming a freight broker and you need some help and you're struggling with trying to find all the information on Google and YouTube and everywhere in between, and you want a simple system, something where we put it together and we educate you to give you everything you need from A to Z to get started as a freight broker, freight agent, just check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've had over 10,000 students. We've been in business over a decade. I personally have done over $200 million as a freight broker, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. So I can't make it much easier than that. We're going to start the training in about a minute or two here. We're letting a bunch more people get live. And again, the notes for today, here's some of my notes. Got a lot to cover. So we're going to do, for those of you that are just joining me, we are going to do the training. And then we're going to do live Q&A. If we have time, we might try to fit in a quick giveaway after the training. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about 4 ways to differentiate yourself from other freight brokers. Okay. So 4 ways to differentiate yourself from other freight brokers, from the competition, right? Because let's face it, there are other competitors, there are other freight brokers out there. There are other freight agents out there, and it's business. So your job is to position yourself in a way that you stand out from the crowd. So I'm going to help you with that today. I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to give you 4 tips. First, I'm going to explain to you why it's important, and then I'm going to give you 4 tips and strategies on how to do that. Okay. So we're letting everybody get live. A few more shout outs. Michael from Seattle, Washington, first timer. Kenny Proctor from Texarkana, Texas. Johnny Nolan. The podcast is called Freight Broker Bootcamp Audio Experience. Just search Freight Broker Bootcamp and you'll find the podcast. And then you can subscribe, rate, and review. Again, the giveaway is over for today. We did do the free giveaway. We had one winner, Roland Salas, who's actually still up on the screen. I'm going to remove that. But yeah, thank you everybody for playing along. Tons of people live today. I love it. And just so you guys know, you can watch this on YouTube, Facebook, I think even Instagram and a few other places. So Twitter, LinkedIn, right? We got all these different places we stream this. So thank you everybody for joining me. Whatever platform's your preference, we're typically there. Okay. All right. So let me grab a quick drink and then we're going to get the ball rolling here. We got a bunch of people live. So today I'm going to reiterate, I'm going to share with you 4 ways to differentiate yourself from other freight brokers. But before we dive into that, okay, here's the price of admission. You don't have to pull out your credit card. You don't have to give me your email. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is very simple. Right now, you have to like the stream wherever you're watching, and then you have to share it. Share the stream with somebody. Share it on Facebook. Share it on YouTube. Share it on Instagram. Share it on Twitter. Share it somewhere. Okay? That's your price of admission. The more of these that I get, the more likely I am to come back every week and provide new trainings. Because again, I can tell you, it's summertime here. There's always something better to do during the summer. I'm sure you'd agree than in the middle of the day when it's hot out and it's beautiful out to be doing trainings for you and for me. So, let me know, comment, and share the stream wherever you're watching it. That's the price of admission. Again, no credit card, doesn't cost you an email. Just let me know that you're listening and engaged, and I'm happy to come back and provide these trainings every single week for you. Okay. All right. So today, here's the topics. Here's the notes that I have to share with you. We're going to start the training here in just a minute. But again, thank you so much for everybody that's here. We did do the giveaway already. So for those of you that are interested in that, we already gave away the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Maybe we'll give another one away later. But why don't we dive into the training? So today I'm going to share with you 4 ways to differentiate yourself from other freight brokers. But first, I'm going to start with why differentiating yourself is important. I'm going to start with a quote that I heard from Sally Hogshead years ago. And it's a quote that says, different is better than better. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. Different is better than better. Now, in business, everybody always looks at how can I have better pricing, and how can I have better service, and how can I have better communications, and how can I have better technology, right? It's the better game, right? I need to be better than my competition. And that is important. Don't get me wrong. I want you to be better, but it's very hard to be better than everybody. Okay. It's very hard to be better than everybody at everything, but it's not hard to be different. And different is what allows you to stand out from the crowd. And that's really what you need as a freight broker. You need the ability to stand out because, again, they've got all kinds of carriers and freight brokers that they can choose from. Why are they going to do business with you? So number one, that's why it's important to differentiate yourself. Now, I'm going to share with you 4 tips on how to differentiate yourself from the crowd. Here's my notes. And so let me start with the first one. And you guys have probably heard this before. I talk about this all the time. Number 1 is you have to niche down. Niches, riches are in niches. It's true. If you are a generalist, right, in any industry, it's hard to stand out. You don't You just don't stand out from the crowd if you're a generalist. So niching down will automatically help you to stand out from the crowd. If you focus on, import export out of the state of Florida, right? Now you've become very niche down and you're very honed in on who your target market is, and your target market is very honed in on the value that you can provide. So niching down is one. Very important that you niche down, in my personal opinion. Now, you can expand beyond one niche over time, but when you first start, I would say narrow down your niche as close as you can. Obviously, you need a big enough market where you can generate customers, but ultimately finding your niche and niching down is very important. That's number one. That's a great way to differentiate yourself, and it's very, very simple. Number two, do business differently. Now, what do I mean by that? Not every business operates the same. If you were to look at your competitors and you were to look at their sales process and their customer service process and the technology that they have and the processes that they have within their organization, dealing with vendors, dealing with customers, dealing with employees. If you look at the inside of those businesses and you gather some sales intelligence about those companies, what you're going to find is that there are going to be gaps. There are going to be gaps where you can fit yourself in and differentiate yourself. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're serving the Atlanta market. You're a freight broker. You're focusing on that local Atlanta market. And there's some other freight brokers that are also there. And they're also focused on that local market. I'm just giving you an example. And the way that their sales process works is they are a very high volume, smile and dial type of call center sales system where they take a one size fits all sales approach with some generic sales script. Very common in freight brokerage. Okay. So you see that and you understand how they're selling, right? So their strategy is quantity over quality, even though they would never admit that. That's the reality of what they're doing. So rather than one way to differentiate yourself, and this is just one simple way in a sales process, is rather than you doing smile and dial high volume cold calling, you might take a face-to-face approach. You might actually go out and visit those customers one-on-one. Now, that's a very different approach to getting customers than that competitor, right? So that's an example of how you can be different. That's just one simple example. It doesn't mean the service is considerably different. It doesn't even mean the pricing is considerably different. It just means that you found a gap and a way to differentiate yourself. And so that's a perfect example of how to be different. Okay. So number two was do business differently. And you can look at every component of a freight brokerage and you can find those distinctions and those gaps. All right. Number three, be better at marketing. All right. So this is a weak point for most freight brokers, most logistics companies, even some of the larger companies out there. They're really lousy at marketing. So what do I mean by that? Marketing is all about creating awareness of your products and service and brand. And sales is all about converting that awareness into dollars, into customers, into orders, right? And so marketing is creating that awareness. So there are some examples of marketing that are very simple, very inexpensive, but very powerful. For example, you could start a podcast like this. This is basically a video show podcast, and you could use that as a way to market your service. You could start a YouTube channel. You could start a blog. You could start writing for different publications as a way to differentiate yourself than the competition. Because I can tell you that most freight brokers out there don't market their service, they only sell. You could also do paid advertising on Google or other platforms. So if you are a better marketer, you can sometimes get more customers than companies that have more experience and maybe even better pricing and service. Sometimes the better marketer is the person who wins the game, not always the best product, not always the best service. Okay. And so you have to get better at marketing, and you have to invest in marketing in order to differentiate yourself. I gave you some examples. You could start building your influence by creating content like podcasts or videos or blogs You could do that on a variety of different platforms that are free or paid. Free platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, or your website with a blog. You could also do it. Again, there's tons of ways. You could also do paid advertising through Google or Facebook or Twitter, all the different paid campaigns, the pay-per-click ads. So there's a lot of ways to get better at marketing, but you have to invest your time and energy and skills, time and energy to learn and to develop and to launch those types of strategies and campaigns. Okay. So that was number 3. And number 4, this is a really important one. I want to distinguish between focusing on customer experience versus customer service. Okay. So you hear this term customer service all the time, right? No matter what, whether even before you were in business, customer service, customer service, customer service. And that is great. Don't get me wrong. Customer service is important. But I like to think about customer service at a higher level. I like to think about it as a customer experience. So rather than just servicing your customer and providing the value that you agreed to, which is critically important and very basic one-on-one business, what I want you to think about is how could you enhance the customer experience? How could you improve the overall experience for the customer? Not for you, but for the customer. Now, the way you do that is to better understand your customer. So one of the best ways to do that is to get feedback from your customers. What could make your experience better? What could make our service more valuable? Getting customer feedback, right? And then leveraging that feedback to, again, differentiate yourself and enhance the customer experience. Now, we've all went to 3-star hotels, not so good. And we've probably all been to 4 or 5-star hotels, or at least we've seen them. There's a huge difference. Now, you're still sleeping in a bed that usually has a bathroom, that in a hotel that has an elevator, and they have some sort of brand, but the experience is very different. Like, for example, if you stay in the Holiday Inn in New York City, right, in Manhattan, versus if you stay in the Plaza Hotel or the St. Regis Hotel or any number of higher end hotels, the customer experience is going to be very, very different. Trust me. Okay. And so that's what I mean by customer experience. Now, obviously you're not selling hotel or travel amenities or tourism, but you are selling a service. So you need to think about that customer experience. And I want you to think customer experience over customer service. And one of the best ways to enhance that experience is to actually seek feedback from your customers and then leverage that feedback to enhance the overall experience. So those are the 4. I'm going to run through them really quick. Number 1, niche down. Number 2, do business differently. Find the gaps. Number 3, be better at marketing. And number 4 was focus on customer experience versus just customer service. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, and you need some help, you want a coach, you want a mentor, you want a process, you want an online program that's going to help you walk through that, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money back guarantee. No questions asked. If you're not happy, we don't want your money. So check that out. Truly appreciate you guys being here. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next week. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. We're not going to close out here. We are going to do Q&A, so hold tight. We are going to still do Q&A. Let me catch my breath, grab a drink. I hope you guys enjoyed that training. Can you guys give me, I don't know if that's valuable for you guys, okay? Give me an example. Can you guys do me a huge favor right now? Just do me a huge favor. Lean in really quick. I need your feedback really quick. I want to understand if this topic and this format is valuable to you. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning, Dennis, this sucked. Don't ever do that again. 10 being, hey, listen, this is perfect. I loved it. Thank you so much. This was a great training. Hit me up in the comments and let me know 1 to 10, where you put this. And listen, be honest, guys. I've got thick skin. I've been in sales and an entrepreneur for over 27 years. Trust me, you're not going to hurt my feelings. But if you didn't enjoy it, please try to share why and how I could improve it. Do you see what I'm doing here? Do you see what I'm doing? Number 4 on the list was focus on customer experience versus customer service. I'm asking your feedback. I want to know how I could make this better. If you didn't enjoy it, I want to enhance it. If you did enjoy it, again, give me a ranking 1 to 10. I'd love to hear from you. Michael Gal, thank you so much. Gave me 100. Joe Momighty, 20. Renee, 10. Thank you so much. All right, good. I'm happy that I'm hitting the mark for some of you at least. Others may not agree, but that's okay. I will go back down through these comments. And if you're not happy and you didn't enjoy this, please just let me know. I would just like some constructive feedback on how I could make it better. Okay. All right. So let me grab a quick drink and then we're going to jump into some Q&A. All right. You saw that, Derek, huh? See how easy it is? See how easy that is? Thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear. You got to be hot down there in Texas, girl. Hot. It's hot up here in Buffalo. You got to be hot down in Texas. I imagine it's got to be 100 down there by now. But I'm sure you're not, that upset on your ranch that you bought with all the spoils of your freight brokerage business. For those of you that don't know, Monica has been a friend of mine for many years, past student, and a killer freight agent who makes buku bank. She lives in Texas. If you ever get a chance to talk to her, hit her up. She's the best. All right. So cool. All right. So let's, you know what? Here, we're going to do Q&A. But before we do that, we got a couple minutes. Let's do a free giveaway. Who wants a chance to win a Freightpreneur t-shirt? Someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. Who wants a chance to win it? Now, you got to be in the U.S. because, again, I'm shipping these shirts. If you want a chance to win that, here's all you got to do. All right? Here's all you got to do if you want a chance to win the shirt. What I want you to do is I want you to go to some of you might already be there. I want you to go to this. I want you to go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/freight brokers. All right. Or you can just go on YouTube and search Freight Broker Bootcamp. Again, you'll see my bald, shiny head. That's the channel name, Freight Brokers. And I want you to subscribe and then hit the all notifications bell. So you got to subscribe on YouTube and hit the all notifications bell. This is going to allow you to get notified every time a new live, every time a new training comes out. I publish new videos there every single week on different topics. So subscribe and hit the all notification bell for a chance to win. And then come back in the comments and let me know that you subscribed and hit the all notifications bell on YouTube. Okay. YouTube subscribed with all notifications. Let me know in the comments that you did that. And that's going to give you a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Okay. So youtube.com/freight brokers or search for Freight Broker Bootcamp and you will see that channel. Subscribe and then hit the all notifications bell. Come back in and let me know that you did that. And you're going to get a chance to win. Gigi, done doesn't work. Okay. I need to know YouTube subscribed, all notifications. Okay. You got to hit me up with that because otherwise I can't differentiate who did what when. Okay. And then I'm going to pick one winner. Miko, that doesn't work. Okay. Do what Samuel did. See what Samuel did? Samuel Markin did. Subscribed and hit the notifications bell on YouTube. Perfect. Samuel, I want to choose you right now just because you followed instructions, but I can't. I got to make it random. So thank you so much, everybody who's subscribing on YouTube. You guys won't regret it. It's I've got well over 100 free freight broker and freight agent training videos on there, and we're adding new content, new training, new topics. We're closing in on about 50,000 subscribers, so that's pretty exciting. We're adding, a bunch of subscribers every day, week, month, and I appreciate you being a part of that community. So you got another minute here to subscribe and hit the all notification bells on YouTube, and then let me know in the comments that you did it, and I'm going to pick a random winner. And then you're going to get the Freightpreneur t-shirt. And then we're going to move on to Q&A. So hold your questions. Do not put your questions in the comments until after the giveaway, because if you do, I'm not going to be able to see them because you remember the feed here on my live goes very, very fast, right? So it's scrolling up and sometimes it's hard to even keep track depending upon how many people are commenting, okay? All right, so 30 seconds and we're going to do the giveaway and then we're going to jump into Q&A and then I'm going to let you guys go and have a very productive and profitable day and week. All right, cool. So I'm going to scroll up to where they begin, and I have a very non-scientific way of doing this. I close my eyes, I scroll through the feed, and I randomly pick one person. Oh, and this wasn't even by design, but I actually picked Samuel Markin as the winner, even though I think he was the first person who did it right, which is subscribed and hit the notification bell. Samuel, congratulations. You're the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Here's all you got to do to claim your prize. Go to my Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, like the page, and then I want you to message me your full name, your address, and your size. Okay. And then you got to let me know that you won the YouTube subscribe t-shirt giveaway. That'll let me know what I got to do. So you got to send me your full name, your address, and your size. Okay. This is a large. Again, they run pretty true to form. It's unisex sizing. And then let me know that you won the YouTube t-shirt giveaway. You'll get that t-shirt. We'll process that typically within 24 to 48 hours after you send me your info. And we will, you'll typically get that within 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. So thank you everybody playing along. There's no losers in this group. If you did subscribe to the channel, I'm sure you're going to love it. And you will get notified of new trainings, new videos, and new topics that we cover on that channel every week. Okay. All right, cool. So congrats on that. Gigi, I don't sell the shirts. I only give them away. Maybe I've said before, maybe I'll set up some sort of a store so you guys can buy them, but honestly, it just hasn't been a priority, but I will try to do that. I will try to do that for you. Okay. All right, cool. So, Kevin, thank you for the feedback. All right, cool. Awesome. So real life examples would have made it more valuable. Good. Okay. All right, so let's jump into the Q&A. If you guys have questions, here's all you got to do. Hit me up in the comments and let me know. Be specific. Try not to be generic. Don't say, how do I get customers? Too generic, right? You know how you get customers, right? You get customers by talking to prospects and talking to your target market. Be specific with your questions, and I will be able to give you specific feedback. If your questions are too generic, I'll typically skip over them. Okay. So try to be specific with the question you have and the feedback you're looking for, and I will do my best. Now, here's one thing I can promise you. I'm not going to get to all the questions today. I never do, but I will try to come back later in the week and respond in the comments. Okay. So I'll try to get to as many as I can today before I got to run, but here we go. So let's jump in. Okay. So here's a question for Trucking Simple. Please explain freight agent duties. Wash hands. Thank you. Okay. Okay. That must've been emojis. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So please explain freight agent duties. All right. So a freight agent, first, let me distinguish between what a freight broker and a freight agent is. A freight broker is a licensed entity that is authorized by the FMCSA to broker freight for shippers. So they are an intermediary that is licensed to do business with shippers and carriers, and they're the middleman. Okay, so that's the licensed entity. That's the brokerage. A freight agent is typically someone that operates underneath them as an independent contractor on straight commission that makes between 50 and 70% of the profit on any load that they move with customers that they originate. So that's the basic fundamentals of what a freight broker, freight agent is. So a freight agent's duties are typically to find customers, right, which is selling, provide freight quotes to those customers, follow up with those customers, secure the client, get the loads. When the customer does give them the load, they're going to enter that load into their transportation management software. They're going to post it to the load boards. They're going to cover that load by talking to carriers and negotiating rates. They're going to source that carrier. They're going to assign that driver, that carrier, to the load. They're then going to on the day of the load that's going to pick up, they're then going to dispatch that driver into the pickup location, and they're going to stay in contact and communication with that driver until that load delivers on time, in good condition, with no problems. Okay. So you're going to see it all the way through to delivery. That's why you get such a heavy commission, typically 50 to 70% of the profit. Okay. So that's the basic fundamentals. Now, freight agents are typically not responsible for providing or developing technology. They're not responsible for billing. They're not responsible for invoicing. They're not responsible for paying carriers. They're not responsible for the financial management side. They're not responsible for licensing or typically insurance that's associated with the freight brokerage. So you're really focused very heavily on finding and servicing and supporting your customers. So from finding all the way through finding shippers all the way through to delivery of that load, that's where you as a freight agent will focus. Okay. So I hope that helps. Trucking Simple. Thank you for the feedback, Juanita. All right, so here's a question from Carolyn. Do you think there are any freight brokers / agent companies that will hire you without charging you for training? Yes, 100%. There definitely are. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I would suggest. Go to this website. We actually have, I put together, and last year I launched, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, I launched the one and only, if not the only, definitely the first freight broker, freight agent job board. Okay. It's specifically for freight brokers and freight agents. So if you're a broker looking to hire agents or freight brokers or salespeople or operations people, you can go there and place a job ad for free. Okay. Cost you $0. Now, if you're looking to get hired in any of those roles, you can go there and you can apply for those jobs for free. Okay. So we have students of Freight Broker Bootcamp, as well as other people around the world that use that job board to post job ads and to try to secure those jobs. So I would suggest you check out that job board. Okay. You can just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/jobs and that will bring you there. And again, my suggestion to you is and you just have to be very careful of this. Okay. When you want to get hired as an agent, okay, there are companies out there that will try to charge you for training to become an agent. I would try to avoid those companies. Okay. Just being honest. I hope I'm not offending anybody, but if I am, sorry, not sorry. Okay. Freight brokers, if you're a freight broker, you need to make your money on brokering loads. So part of your job as a freight broker hiring agents is to train them and to fill the gaps. If you're not interested in helping them, then you shouldn't be hiring them. Okay. So I'm a little critical of freight brokers that are charging for training to get the job, because here's the problem. You got to understand, think about it from the other side. If you're just using the freight agent position as a way to lure people in and to try to charge them for training, then it's not real transparent. And it's a little bit, bait and switch, we'll call it. I'm not crazy about that. Most established freight brokers that have an agent business model do not charge for training. Now, they may charge for load boards. They may charge for software. They may charge for different components of supporting you as an agent, but the training is typically something they don't charge for. So be a little cautious. I'm not saying that every person out there has bad intentions if they're charging you as a freight agent to become, if they're a freight broker charging you as a freight agent. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but I'm saying be cautious. And yes, there are tons of companies out there that will hire you if, number one, you've gotten trained. Number two, you have, if you're educated on the topic, right? You can talk the lingo, and they truly believe that you can provide a win-win solution for them and yourself. Okay. So I hope that helps. All right. Oh boy, I got so many questions. Let me scroll here. Fadil, I've answered this question before. I'll answer it again. Is it a good idea to be an agent for more than one broker? My answer is no. I think it creates a lot of confusion, not only with customers, but with carriers. And I think that confusion is unnecessary if you pick the right broker. Now, there are some extreme examples or exceptions. Even though I prefer that you only have one broker as an agent, there are some extreme examples. Let's say, for example, you focus on heavy haul, right? And your brokerage that you work with only does heavy haul. And that's all they really want to support. That's all they're really good at. But you have customers who need more specialized knowledge in and around refrigerated temperature control, right? Stuff that's perishable. If your broker is not really well suited for that, and you really want to pursue that niche, you may want to find another broker. But I will tell you, it's going to create a lot of confusion with customers. It's going to create a lot of confusion with carriers, particularly on the billing, invoice, and payment remittance side, Because if a carrier and a shipper don't know who to expect the bill from, who you're representing at any given point, because you have too many multiple brokerages out there, it's going to create some complexity and confusion. So my preference, my suggestion is to find one broker to work with at a time. All right, so here's a question from Aaron Ogbe. As a broker, if you get freight from a shipper and later you could not get a carrier, does this get you a bad reputation or credit for your broker authority? Okay, so if you are a broker and you solicit a shipment from a shipper and that shipper gives you a shipment, right? And then you do not cover that shipment, if you overpromise and underdeliver, of course that's going to impact your reputation, particularly with that shipper. It's also going to impact your reputation with anybody they talk to about their experience. So yes, if you don't deliver, right, what you've agreed upon in advance at a service level, then yeah, of course that's going to impact your reputation, just like any business, okay? Any other business. Now, it doesn't affect your broker authority. It doesn't affect your broker credit, but it does affect your reputation because that shipper now had a poor customer experience because you failed to serve, right? You overpromised and underdelivered versus underpromising and overdelivering. Okay, so I hope that helps, Aaron. Okay, so here's a question from Kenny Proctor. Is there a formula, say from Houston to Phoenix? How would you bid on that lane twice a week, flatbed 48,000? Okay, well, I'm not going to do your rates for you, but there is a formula, and the formula is this. It's first go to the load boards and look at the supply and demand. Look at truck to load ratio. If there's more trucks than there are loads, then you know there's going to be a lot of competition for trucks to get those loads, and it's going to bring the price down. If there's more loads than there are trucks, then the competition for trucks is going to be higher and the price is going to go up. So that's going to give you a general rule if you look at the supply and demand of load to truck ratio. You're also going to be able to contact some carriers from that. You're also going to be able to use some of the rating tools. So I suggest check out the load to truck ratio, use the rating tools on the load board, and try to get a general sense as to what the rates are. And then the third part of validating is you need to talk to some carriers and find out what the spot market for that is, right? Because you're looking for a spot market rate. And just know that day to day, week to week, month to month, rates can change quickly based upon fuel price, based upon seasonality, based upon weather, based upon government intervention or legislation, based upon a myriad and a plethora of different variables. So in order for you to understand the spot rates, go to the load board, look at the load to truck ratio, use the rating tools to try to get a general sense. And then you need to talk to some carriers and validate what your cost basis is. And then from there, you can mark it up and add your margin. Okay, so I hope that helps. That's the formula. Okay, so here's a question. Bob Boldra, getting close to the I'm assuming launch, but the credit score, personal credit score is not up to the surety bond. I need options. Okay. Well, if you don't have good credit, your surety bond is either going to not be approved or it's going to be a high cost. So you need to either find somebody to work with that's willing to work with your credit, or if you have a partner in the business, maybe you can use their credit, or maybe there's an option to do a broker trust versus a broker surety bond. See, a surety bond is like an insurance product. It's almost like an insurance product where, you know, it's a guarantee to pay to the carriers to make sure. That's what the bond is for, to guarantee payment to the carriers. And if you have a broker trust, that's actually a deposit that they have on file, where they have a deposit that they can draw from in the event that any carriers file against your bond. So you might want to look for freight broker trust, or you might want to find a partner who has better credit. Or I would tell you, and I would not let this stand in your way, start out as a freight agent. You don't require a bond, doesn't require authority, it's much easier to make money. And what I tell everybody before, If you don't have good credit or some cash for a runway to get the business started, or if you don't have a lot of experience, start as a freight agent. Okay. I have past students like Monica Gonzalez who made over $300,000 in her HIP National Bank as an agent. No worries about the credit, no worry about the authority, no worry about the bond, none of that. I've got other agents that make tens of thousands a month, that have worked for me, as well as past students. And I've had agents that work for me that made over $100,000 in commission in 1 month. Okay. And trust me, their overhead was very, very little. So starting out as an agent, because I say, if you can't make money as an agent, you're not going to make money as a broker, because being a broker is a little bit harder. It's a little bit more complex. There's a little bit more to do. Okay. So I hope that helps, Bob. Okay, so I have a next link says, please help. I have a contract with freight forwarding company in New Jersey, but can't find ocean freight carriers. Any help? Well, as a broker, you're not gonna go direct to ocean freight carriers. They're probably not even gonna work with you. Okay. You're typically going to operate through an international freight forwarder, or you're going to look for what's called an NVOCC. Okay. I don't even know what that stands for, but I know NVOCC, it's something navigational, something. But you can look for NVOCCs, international freight forwarders. Those are basically people that work direct with ocean liners to book ocean freight. So that would be my suggestion to you. Okay, so generic question. What do you see with the future of freight brokers? What I see as the future of freight brokers is this: higher demand, okay, for freight brokers, for good freight brokers. I see freight brokers becoming more technologically enabled and enhanced, right? Rather than operating in file folders and Excel spreadsheets, you're going to be leveraging technology that's going to take and improve the customer experience, improve the overall service, improve the net margins on it. So yeah, I see freight brokers becoming more technologically advanced and more necessary than ever. Okay, because again, there is a growing driver shortage in the industry. I know that people will debate that, but it's well documented ever since before I joined the industry back in 2003. And driver shortages cause pent up demand with shippers, because it makes their job harder, right? If there were more than enough carriers direct, then it would make the broker's job less valuable. But that's not the case. It's harder and harder. More drivers are leaving the industry than are joining the industry right now because of the baby boomer effect, right? Most drivers are not in their 20s and 30s. Most drivers are in their 50s and 60s. Okay. So they're leaving the industry in droves, huge numbers, and they're going to continue to leave the industry for the next decade. And so that shortage is going to grow, not shrink. Okay. So that's going to increase the demand for quality freight brokers. But I do see them becoming more technologically advanced. You're going to need to partner with software and technology providers that are going to be able to navigate the technological landscape to keep you very competitive. Okay. So I talked about that with the interview with Tim Hyam. Let me see if you guys want to check out a TMS that I highly recommend, that is very technologically advanced, very forward thinking, very innovative, that is going to keep brokers in a competitive landscape from a technological standpoint. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS. Okay. That's going to bring you over to Ascend TMS, which is one of Freight Broker Bootcamp partners. All you got to do when you fill out you can get a free account, no charge, no credit card. Okay. You can get started with no credit card, no charge, but you have to put FBBC in the coupon code. Okay. Or in the referring code. If you put that in there, you're going to get a special offer. You'll get a special discount. You'll also get, I think, a shipper database sent to you. from Ascend, direct from Ascend. So if you guys want to check out a very innovative and technologically forward-thinking TMS provider, Tim Hyams, the CEO, he's a friend of mine. We developed a great relationship. They've really taken care of all of our Freight Broker Bootcamp students. So you can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS. Sign up for free, no credit cards. And particularly if you put the FBBC, again, FBBC, it stands for Freight Broker Bootcamp, in the referral code, they'll definitely take care of you. Okay. So I hope that helps. Good question. All right. A couple more questions. I'm scrolling here. Give me a second. Oh my God, I have so many questions. Okay, so MMB says, can a freight broker also be a freight forwarder? Yes. Can a new broker also be a freight forwarder? Yes. You can be a freight forwarder, which is a different license than a freight broker. So you can be a freight forwarder and a freight broker if you choose. You can have both if you choose. You really don't need it though, but yeah. Okay, so Sandra asks, what's one motivational piece of advice you'd give to someone who's hesitant to pick up the phone and call shippers? Sandra, if you're going to limit it to one piece of advice, I would tell you this. Everybody's bad before they're good. Now, what I mean by that is when I started in sales, my first sales job, 1992, I was the worst salesperson they had ever hired in the history of the company, self-admitted. Okay? I was terrible. I was the worst. I sucked. But I invested my time, energy, and resources in how to learn how to sell. And eventually I became a top salesperson, an entrepreneur, and since then I've done over $200 million as a freight broker. So just because you're hesitant to get started, like I was, literally, my first day as a salesperson, I was there for 8 hours. I probably dialed the phone 6 times all day. I was petrified to pick up the phone. It was terrible. But I can tell you, everybody's bad before they're good. It's a process. It's not an overnight process, but it's a very learnable skill. It's a very learnable process. And at the end of that, I can tell you this. Here's the great part. If you learn how to sell effectively, okay, and just the fundamentals of how to sell and communicate your value and to get your prospects' attention, right, you can go anywhere in the world and make 6 figures in any industry. And I'm talking outside of the freight and logistics industry. I don't care if you're selling insurance. I don't care if you're selling real estate. I don't care if you're selling, pool supplies. I don't care what you're selling. If you learn the fundamentals of how to sell, you are not limited to your income and you can go anywhere in the world and make that kind of money. Okay. So that's my motivational piece. I hope that helps. So auto transport, I'm interested in becoming an auto transport broker. Is the training different from what you teach? Auto transport is simply a niche within the freight broker business. Brokering freight is the same, but you have a very specific auto niche. So there are nuances to every niche. We do not specifically spend a lot of time about auto transport, but the fundamentals of being being a freight broker are the same for a freight broker who's brokering van loads versus brokering auto loads. Okay. So yeah, the training will be beneficial. Plus I offer a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. So take the training. If you don't like it, we'll give you a refund. Mike asks, would you recommend buying insurance on a per load basis or paying a monthly premium as a new broker? Well, I would recommend that as a new broker, you don't get contingent cargo insurance at all. You don't need it. This is a misconception that most people have. Most people think that you have to have contingent cargo in order to get shippers as a new broker. You don't. Now, there are going to be some shippers that you won't be able to work with because they will require it. But I'm going to tell you, there's no stats out there, but my gut and my opinion is less than half of the shippers out there in the world require contingent cargo. The larger companies will almost all require contingent cargo. If you go to US Steel, or you go to Pepsi, or you go to Nestle Water, or you go to any, Home Depot or Lowe's or any major manufacturer, distributor, retailer of any products, large ones, Fortune 1000 brands, they're probably all going to require contingent cargo, but that's not your market. Freight brokers provide the most value to small to medium-sized companies that are doing $1 million to $5 million to $50 million in sales. I would say try to find companies that are doing $5 million in sales up to maybe $50 million in sales. That's your sweet spot. Okay. That's where you can provide the most value. And most of those companies don't require contingent cargo. Now, if you do decide to get contingent cargo, then it's really just a math equation. If you can get contingent cargo, if you need contingent cargo and it's going to cost you this, and you have that money and you can recoup that money very quickly by having that customer, well, then it's a no-brainer. But if not, if you don't have the money, then you can always do it on a per load basis. But the per load basis is always going to be a lot more expensive than having an annual policy for your contingent cargo. All right, I'm scrolling here. I'm looking for more questions. All right, so let's see if we can figure this one out. What is a tip for asking for a meeting with a warm prospect? A friend has given me the direct contact information for the decision maker, and I want to set an appointment with them next week. Any tips to approach? I am in FBSA. So he's part of my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. So here, I want you to ask this question during our live on Wednesday. I'm going to reserve this question on our live. So my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program is I'm in the middle of that program. We sold it out. Thank you, everybody who joined. We sold it out. We have over 100 people that enrolled in that Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. And so that's a 5-week coaching program where we talk about freight broker sales, mindset, filling your funnel, overcoming objections, closing, leveraging technology, everything you need in order to get customers quickly and cost effectively. And so that program is up and running right now. If you guys, it's closed right now, but if you guys want a chance to be on the wait list for the next cohort, if you want to get on the wait list and get notified when we open it back up for enrollment, just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FBSA or freightbrokerbootcamp.com/wait list, and you can get on the wait list. If you're not on the wait list, you'll probably not get a chance to enroll or understand that program because it sells out very, very quickly. This is the 3rd or 4th time I've sold it out in less than a week. Okay. So if you guys want to do that. So whoever asked that question, ask it in the group and we're going to answer it there. All right. I'm scrolling. A couple more questions and we're going to wrap it up today. Okay. So here's a question. When I'm sending a shipper a quote, if they ask me how much something is, do I give them an exact number, what I think I can move it for, or is it better to give them a range? Okay. All right. Well, a quote is never a range. A quote is a quote. Now, if someone's asking your opinion on what something would cost, or you're just they're trying to feel you out, or you're trying to get a sense to feel them out, you can use a range. But my suggestion is, just so you know, if you gave me a range and you said, okay, Dennis, that would be, maybe 1,500 to 2,000. I say, okay, well, I'll do it for 1,500. Now, all of a sudden you're cemented in at 1,500. Okay. So my suggestion is to do the research and do the actual quote. You can provide an all-in quote. And then at that point, once you get that quote, now you can sell that value or overcome objections, whatever those objections might be. But yeah, I would provide an exact quote rather than a range, because a range is automatically going to, number one, it doesn't create confidence because it's telling them that you don't know the answer. And number two, they're automatically going to gravitate to the lower part of that. So my suggestion is in a situation like that, depending upon the market, what the market's doing and what the cost is going to be, I might quote at the higher end. And then try to see if we could get the 2,000 and then negotiate down as we need to or have to. Okay. So I hope that helps. Gigi, do you have or can you recommend someone to mentor? I don't do one-on-one mentoring. I don't know who does one-on-one mentoring. Be careful who you select as your mentor. I have a lot of students that come to me and they're very upset because they were charged thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and the person didn't help them and they feel very ripped off. So be very careful who you pick as a coach or a mentor. I don't do one-on-one coaching. I do the group coaching for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. You can check that out. Again, you can get on the wait list for that at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FBSA. And that is a hybrid program with an online course plus a 5-week coaching program where I coach you actually one-on-one in a group environment. So yeah, but no, I don't have a specific person that I think of mentor. Now, if you're an agent and you start to work for a freight broker, maybe they could be your mentor if they're a reputable source, a reputable provider. They will probably end up being your mentor. I can mentor you from afar, but not one-on-one. That's what my podcast is for. That's what my YouTube channel is for. That's what my blog is for. That's what my Freight Broker Bootcamp course is for. So yeah, but I can't do one-on-one mentoring. It just doesn't work with my schedule. I used to do it. It was $30,000 a year. It was an annual program for 12 months. And it was a very effective program, but it just took up way too much of my time and it just didn't fit my schedule. But that's what I used to charge for it. All right. Scrolling. We're going to do one more question, see if I can pick a good one. Yeah, PRS, no, you can't join another cohort if you missed the last one. You signed up for a specific cohort. The reason being is because I only have so much bandwidth and time for this new cohort. I got 100 students that I've committed to servicing and coaching. So if I had a bunch of people who missed a previous cohort and then all of a sudden I had 50 people who joined it, I wouldn't have enough time to support those new people. I'm sorry, but I can't allow you to do that. But you do have access to the online course and you can send us questions online through support. Okay, so here's a question, Todd Richardson. This is probably going to be the last question. New sales agent, keep running up against pricing for my customers, having prices cheaper than what I can get. Okay, the number one problem, Todd, is you're spending all your time talking about price versus value. You haven't differentiated yourself. It's a perfect time to talk about this, and we'll wrap it up. I gave you, number one, why it's important to differentiate yourself. And number two, I gave you 4 ways to differentiate yourself. If you are different versus better, right? Remember, you can't be the best price. You can't be the best service. You can't be the best communications. You can't be the best of the best of the best brokers. It's a great goal to strive for, but you will fail most times if that is the requirement. But you can be different. Now, here's one way to be different. What I suggest is stop wasting your time with shippers that are only focused on price. Your time, energy, and resources are finite. So here's what you do. Here's an example. What I learned very quickly in the freight game was this. I did not want to work with companies that were focused exclusively on price. It was very frustrating. So I developed a strategy where I handle that price objection up front. So in the first few minutes of talking to a prospect, I will say to them something like, so Todd, listen, I got to be upfront with you about this. If your number one concern is price and getting the cheapest rate, I'm probably not the right guy. But if you want to know why my other customers pay me a little bit more, I'll be happy to share that with you. And then I zip my lip and I listen. Now, if they say, Dennis, we're only focused on price. If you're not the cheapest, you're not going to get the freight. I am probably going to exit stage left. I'm not going to waste my time. Because if I have to be the cheapest all the time, then I don't want to work with that shipper because that shipper is not focused on relationship. He's not focused on partnership. He's not focused on value. He or she is only focused on price. And I don't do business with those customers. I'll let them go to the wayside and spend my time and energy focused on shippers that appreciate communications in the ways that I'm able to differentiate the service, the relationship, and the trust. Okay. So that's how I filter out people that are focused exclusively on price. Feel free to use that. But in my sales calls, it became commonplace early in the call. Because if I do that up front with you, Todd, and say, listen, Todd, I got to be upfront with you. If you're focused exclusively on price and being the cheapest, I'm probably not your guy. But if you'd like to know why my other customers pay me a little bit more, then I'd be happy to explain it to you. And then I listen. If they continue to talk at that point, then I know they're not exclusively focused on price. They're focused on value. And if they're focused on that, and then we get to quoting it down the road and I don't come in as the cheapest, there's no argument because they already told them up front I'm not going to be the cheapest. So what is there to argue about? Right? They can't come back and say, yeah, but Dennis, your rate is higher than the competitors. I told you my rate was going to be higher. And I also told you why it's higher. Make sense? So I think that's a great way to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the training today. Take those 4 that I gave you today in the training. 1, niche down. Number 2, do business differently. Find the gap. Number 3, be better at marketing. And number 4, focus on customer experience versus customer service. So I hope that helps. Have an awesome day. If you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent and you need some help, right? Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com, trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. If you're not happy, just send us an email. We'd be happy to send your money back. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you next Monday at the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live.